The rumors continue to circle around the New York Mets around adding a frontline starter via free agency and or trade. I'm going to let you know what the cost is next on MetCast. Welcome back to MetCast, friends. As always, I am Rain. If you're enjoying this content, please like and subscribe. It helps support the channel so much. Help us get to our subscriber goal of 4,000 subs. Thank you so much for the support that all you give. Please leave a comment below in regard to this potential trade that I'm going to throw at you that I feel is the most realistic. A lot of fans may not be in supportive of this because we have to remember we have to give to get. Nothing comes free, especially looking at this past year's trade deadline where it cost an arm and a leg for virtually any starter or any rotation piece out there. Look at Rodgers, what he went for leaving the Marlins, cost a ton. Look at what Tanner Scott cost the Padres, an absolute ton. But today, I have this proposed trade for you. It is the Mets acquiring starting pitcher Luis Castillo from the Seattle Mariners. It is widely known throughout baseball that Seattle is more than willing to move some of their pieces and are trying to shed payroll. That's why some of the rumors about them acquiring Pete Alonso would have required them to shed additional salary. I believe Castillo can be had for the right price. Let's dive into his stats right now, and then we'll get into his contract a short time later. And then I'll pull up our top 10 farm rankings for the Mets and let you guys know what it would cost. Let's take a look at his stats. So here are his stats over the last couple of seasons. You look at that 2024 season last year, 175 innings pitched, very solid. His ERA was in the mid threes. That's kind of what you expect. He's 31 years old, will be going into his 32-year season. His I love his KP9. His KP9 is right at 9 the year prior, 10 the year prior, 10.6. But throughout his entire career, he's averaging 9.7 KP9. You look, he does give up the long ball, 25 last year, 28 the year prior. Strikeouts 175 over 175.1 innings pitched. It's pretty much a strikeout per inning. His ERA 3.64 the year prior, 3.34, 317, 286. So yes, it's slowed down a little bit over the last couple of years, but to me, Castillo is still a frontline starter. He throws the ball very hard. His contract's very reasonable, and I actually don't think it's going to take a complete arm and a leg to acquire a guy of his stature. Let's dive into his current contract and what that could look like for the New York Mets. So here's a look at Luis Castillo's contract. He's owed just about a little over $24 million dollars this season, 24 in 26 as well as in 27, and he has that vesting option at 28 at age 35, which to me is perfect. Think about that. Sean Manaea, the guy who the Mets just re-signed in free agency, is 34 years old already, getting a 3-year contract. At 35, you could say goodbye. If we look at the vesting options, it looks like he's going to get it. 2028 vesting option means it vests in 20 from 2027 if he pitches 180 innings, or if he misses 130 plus days in 2025 to 27 due to UCL. This becomes a $5 million team option, which pretty much you would need Tommy John surgery to miss that because that's where the UCL is. But when we take a deeper dive into this contract, it's pretty much a 4-year, $100 million contract, or just under $100 million for a number two who could be a number one on this staff. For me, it's an absolute no brainer. If he's on the block and you could acquire him, clearly the Mets have a lack of frontline starting pitching. Now, this may change if Roki Sasaki chooses the New York Mets, which I unfortunately don't think he's going to. We saw yesterday with what the Dodgers did. They renounced the rights to 2 of their top international free agents, clearing up about $2 million. Now they could potentially offer on the 15th in just a couple days him $6 million. So it looks like that's what's going to end up happening. I mean, I doubt you're renouncing the rights to 2 of your top international free agents unless you have some sort of guarantee from Roki Sasaki, which I think the Dodgers probably do. Now, let's take a deeper dive into where the Mets farm system currently ranks and the prospects that we would see going the other way to Seattle. Let's take a look. So here are the New York Mets top 10 farm system rankings per MetCast heading into this season. Now, a lot of people haven't released, a lot of sites, I should say, have not released their current top rankings for prospects. Most of the prospect rankings that you're going to see, most of them from MLB.com, are from last spring. We did this just after the offseason started, after you've seen everything that happened throughout the minor leagues. So number one, we have Drew Gilbert. A lot of people have him towards the mid to back end, but I put Drew Gilbert where he is only because he's productive. His arm strength in the outfield, his defense, his competitiveness, and the fact that he's 24 years old, will be coming up this year. He's probably one of the top guys first in line to come up. I also think his natural ability and being a top 100 prospect put him right there at the top of the rankings. The first three for me in the Mets farm system are kind of interchangeable prior to getting to 4 and below. So you have Drew Gilbert in outfield, probably a right fielder on a great team, could play all three outfield positions. We've seen him do that throughout college and his minor league career. Then you have Jet Williams, a shortstop, who projects probably to be a second baseman, center fielder, followed by Brandon Sproat, who many throughout MLB have him as the number one prospect in the Mets farm system. Out of Florida, the kid throws 99 to 101 miles an hour, dominated at AA early in the season last year, got promoted to AAA, seemed to struggle, which the Mets said that they wanted to happen to him. They wanted to see him struggle before progressing. Followed by that, we have Ronnie Mauricio coming off major surgery. Hopefully he'll be back this season. Looks like he will be, but keep an eye out. The Mets infield is flooded with talent right now. I don't see Mark Vientos going anywhere. You have potentially Jet Williams, Acuna, McNeil, all of these guys capable of playing second base, potential Jose Iglesias if they bring him back, followed by Ryan Clifford, first base. Clearly the most raw powered prospect that we have. He was one of the major pieces, him and Drew Gilbert, who came over in the Justin Verlander trade, followed by Blake Tidwell, who's a promising starting pitcher. Carson Bage, a former first-round pick of the New York Mets, projects to be an outfielder. Yes, he was pitching, but the Mets are going to have him as an outfielder. Then you have Nolan McLean, who does a little bit of everything. Luis Angel Acuna, who obviously will probably be up this year if not traded. And then you have Jonathan Tung, the hard-throwing starting pitcher, who's currently in Binghamton. Now, when I look around our prospect list, you're going to have to give to take. And Bleacher Report suggested that the New York Mets potentially could trade Ronnie Mauricio straight up. I think the Mets are very high on Mauricio. I don't know if they'd be willing to give up him. Now you're looking potentially right after the top 10. The Brett Beatties of the world are right there. I think some type of combination of a Jonathan Tung and Brett Beatty would get the deal done. I know a lot of Met fans are very high on Jonathan Tung, but again, you have to give to get. You would have Castillo for 4 years. Seattle's going to want some type of pitching back. Some players that are just about to be major league ready, a la Brett Beatty. Brett Beatty's stock has massively fallen. If I were to tell you this prior to coming into the season last year, you probably get Brett Beatty straight up for a guy like Castillo. But in my opinion, it would probably take Brett Beatty, who's probably your 12th or 13th ranked prospect right now because he can't consistently hit in the major leagues, and Jonathan Tung, who's probably the 10th, could be higher on other boards depending on where you see him, but he is one of our better starting pitchers. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. I know a lot of you guys are not going to want to see Jonathan Tung gone, but again, you have to give to get. A lot of people are sending these proposals out there. You're giving guys that nobody ever heard of, or first round picks of the Mets a couple of years ago. The shortstop Hullick, I believe his name is. He's got like a He's got like a 480 OPS. He's been absolutely awful since being drafted. But you're gonna have to give to get. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments, or if there's another starting pitcher you think the Mets could go after. Let me know about that too. We'll feel free to make videos on that content. As always, thank you for sticking around. If you enjoy this content, like and subscribe. It's always appreciated. And until next time, take care.